Hello, welcome back to the Love Hour podcast. I am your host, Miss KevOnStage, here with my husband.
Husband and co-host, the KevOnStage.
Are you the Ohio State?
I am.
It doesn't even go. The only is followed by a vowel, not
the
a K.
KevOnStage.
The KevOnStage. Doesn't have the same ring.
KevOnStage.
Okay, today we have... before we get started into today's topic, I actually want to talk about... I'm going to start a Melissa's Book Club.
NBC.
All right. Because I actually do read a lot of books. And actually, that's a question I get. Like, whenever we do the podcast, one of the questions I get the most is like, what books do you recommend? So any book that I'm reading, I'm going to start recommending them, or at least sharing them.
Okay. You can recommend the ones that stink?
No, just the good ones.
All right.
You'll always get my honest feedback. Actually, I'll tell you all the books that I'm reading and then just tell you the ones that I think are really good.
Got it.
So the one that I'm reading right now, which is a smash hit, it just came out, is the Michelle Obama memoir entitled Becoming. Thank you.
Memoir.
And it is a memoir, and it is phenomenal.
Tell me a little bit about it.
I shall tell you a little bit about it. Actually, before we go there, I actually don't have the time to read books, like sit down and read books. And so I do a lot of audiobooks, actually, of audiobooks. They work very well with my lifestyle because we live in LA and there's a lot of traffic, and I do a lot of like commuting, not to my job, and even when I did have a job, my job was like 10 minutes away.
No commuting. Stop lying to the people.
But I commute to my hairstylist and my esthetician.
Commuting is going to work.
She's 45 minutes away.
That's a drive. Commute is to work.
First of all, I go there once a week, so that is a commute.
Commute to that bedroom. Amen.
And then I be listening when, like, when I don't want to... Household chores. When I don't...
Folding and listening.
Cleaning and listening. Oh, right. We got it. Doing my makeup and listening. Like, I do a lot of that. So anyway... it's a phenomenal book. Obviously, it's about Michelle Obama, and she drops some gems. But one of the things that I actually think was the best part of the book is this feeling of like community with Michelle Obama. Like some of the struggles that she has gone through, some of the things that she's gone through in her relationship with Barack are things that resonate with me, things that we have gone through. And I'm just like, Auntie Shelley, you went through that too?
What do you go through? Because I noticed after you listened a while, you came and looked at me and you were just like,
I should have. But like low key, to be compared to Barack Obama, like, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I ain't saying
I'm presidential, but I'm not presidential.
I was about to say, but you ain't presidential. But one of the things she talked about is being married to a man that, we talked about this today, that overcommits and does a gazillion things, tries to do a gazillion things and fit it all into like a 24-hour day. And I identify that because obviously Kevin and Barack are very different personalities, but one of the things that they have in common is the fact that they overcommit and say yes and think that they can do all things in 24 hours.
I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me.
Except add more hours to the day, because Jesus just doesn't allow that.
You want to take away God's power.
No. Listen, God is sovereign. God is sovereign, and He can do what He wants to do. But you are not sovereign, and therefore you cannot. No, He's not giving you any power. Where are your prayers going? I'm sorry. Who was the person?
Jeremy. Somebody had the earth stand still. One of y'all theologians tell me that I'm right, because He had the power, to stand still the earth. Which all
you got are the antics, and you lack the power.
Lacking the power thereof. Pharisee, sad, you see.
So anyway,
so you feel seen because of Michelle
I
Obama.
feel seen. I feel like this is relatable. She was talking about early on in Barack's career as a politician, he would, have to go to these like community events or whatever. And he would text her like, I'm on my way home. But that really meant like, I'll be home in like an hour and a half and not like the 10-minute drive from where he actually was. Like he needed to talk to this senator. Like he would be making these stops on his way home, go to the gym, do all of these things, and then be home an hour and a half later. And so she's like, we have these girls and they need to go to bed at, 8 o'clock, whatever the bedtime was. And you can't come walking through the house at 10 o'clock expecting them to still stay up. Like we're waiting. At one time, we're waiting up for you. They're wanting to see you. And then it's 10 o'clock and they have school in the morning. Like that throws their whole schedule off.
Right.
So this is what it is. The kids are going to bed at 8. We are eating dinner at 7. If you are not here, you miss it.
Right.
If you are here, wonderful, we will eat. But we can't hold up our lives for you. And once she set that standard, she actually said it carried through in the White House.
Really?
She did. And so just thinking of that, we have, you do comedy or you're out or whatever, that question is asked. And the boys are older now, so I'm okay with it now. But there is this feeling of like, you can't do it all, and just learning to like balance your schedule and what that means and what that looks like. Knowing that it affects Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, and they established such a solid foundation before they entered the White House, which I'm sure is what sustained them through 8 years of, being in the White House. So it's just a phenomenal book. I think she just drops a lot of good nuggets. It's really relatable, and she has, honestly, it's one of those books that I actually recommend listening to instead of reading, because Michelle Obama's voice, it's just so good.
I've heard a little bit while I was reading my Bible mostly, and
what would you read? Go in depth. No. Let's ask specific questions.
Joshua.
I actually just learned this, that the more, when people are telling the truth, you can ask very specific questions and they can like drive down because it's the truth. As an example, what were you eating while you were reading?
I wasn't eating.
Oh, you weren't? What were you doing?
I was eating the word mostly. That's all I need is God's word.
And what revelations did you feel?
We're in relations?
What revelations did you have?
I wasn't reading Revelations. That chapter scares me. It's like a lot of dragons and horns and stuff.
Bye, go away. Nah, that's not a chapter, it's a book.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it's a really good book. It's definitely a book that I recommend. It's definitely a book, actually, that I recommend listening to instead of reading, because Michelle Obama's amazing. In case you didn't know, she's the forever FLOTUS.
Do you feel like we established a good relationship before we entered the White House of our lives?
I don't think that we're there yet.
The White House of our lives?
Yes.
Where do you think I am? Senator Barack Obama?
You probably are.
Community organizer?
No, not community organizer.
Senator.
Senator.
Early in his senator career.
Mm-hmm.
He was only senator for what, 4 years?
We only been in LA for what, 5?
Gonna be 6 in March. Come Sunday.
You late.
That actually made me feel good that Melissa understands that I'm Barack Obama in the community. And that's really what I hope she got out of it.
Hello, that's all you heard, huh? So I'm Barack.
It don't matter how many qualities we share. One, we're men. Close enough. But anyway.
All right, so now we're going to get into our question, which came from a listener.
And if you want to send questions or topics, send them to misskevonstage@gmail.com. Even though we pay for her to use misskevonstage at KevOnStage.com, she does what she wants. I've asked her to use Melissa at KevOnStage.com. But I mean, you try getting a black woman to do what you want her to do.
How about you set it up then?
I don't know how to set it up. You be setting them up. And you did Miss KevOnStage to KevOnStage. You know that's long.
I did.
It's very much longer. Set the email up.
Because people don't be knowing my name.
But you set up Miss KevOnStage at KevOnStage.
I know.
But then you want to use Gmail. Gmail don't pay no bills around here.
Question. Hi, Melissa. Thanks for opening up your brand to viewer input. I have a few questions I'd like to ask. You're welcome. Thank you for sending us your question. She didn't say she wants to remain anonymous, but we should
just let them
leave
remain
her
anonymous. Witness protection comment section.
How much do you think natural personality plays into the success of relationship? Do you think you and KevOnStage are naturally compatible, or is it more something that you work toward? So I'll want to answer the second part, and then we'll answer the first part. Okay. So do you think you and I are naturally compatible?
Only in the sense of opposites attract.
Yeah, we're absolutely not compatible.
What does naturally compatible mean?
So oddly enough, we are trying to work on this web series.
Oh my god!
And we're doing this character development, and I am like completely for it. It's like my favorite thing right now. I'm like low key obsessed. Anytime I'm like really into something, I become obsessed with it.
She done bought hundreds of dollars of books.
Yeah, I have.
Watches all the videos. The last time I seen you this engulfed was makeup.
Yeah.
And you beautiful with it.
I know.
So if you can take that same energy into this character development, You're going to help us make $1 million, and it's going to be the White House of our lives.
All right. I actually like that phrase.
I like it too.
Okay,
I'll put it on a t-shirt and sell it at KevOnStage.com because we ain't got no job.
Where did you get it? I didn't hear you.
We ain't got no jobs at KevOnStage.com. We ain't got no jobs. Y'all is our job. Full-time
You
ministry.
need to make that a commercial.
What?
We ain't got no jobs at KevOnStage.com.
We ain't got no job. KevOnStage.com. Come on, quiet.
Okay. I forgot what I was saying.
You were saying that handsome. I'm handsome.
We're not naturally compatible. Okay, so we were doing the character assessments, and with that, one of the books that I was reading recommended that we take these personality tests. So I took them, and I've had 30 people take them now. I'm a little bit obsessed with that.
Friends.
Everyone's taking it, and based on Kevin's personality type and my personality type, we are actually complete opposites.
Polar. Like more than most couples usually even are.
Like complete opposites. But in addition, when you read the, after you take the personality test, it has like little sections on like who you are compatible with personality wise, what personalities complement you, which personalities are going to be the most challenging for you. And oddly enough, our personalities will give each other the most challenge.
You're definitely a challenge.
Hello?
Personality wise. And I know.
You are too.
I know. I think I'm more of a challenge for you than
Absolutely.
you are for me.
And part of it is because we are going to force each other out of our comfort zone because we are polar opposites. Yes. Like I wish I could pull it up because it's so true though. Down to like, don't stop it. Down to like, you're an extrovert. I'm an introvert. Yes. The way we view the world is going to be different. He will think of, look at things more like, matter of fact and logical. I want to be like more like feely and like that kind of way. I can't remember all the letters, but everything was like
ENTJ.
That was yours. Yeah. I'm ISFJ. That was actually the only one we had the same with the J. ISFJ was mine. So
and if you want, Melissa will send you this personality test.
I sure will. It's the best
her at MissKevOnStage@gmail instead of MissKevOnStage@KevOnStage.
It will give you like jobs you should do and everything. It's freaking fantastic. So anyway, based on the test, we are not naturally compatible.
Right.
We are the definition of opposites attract.
And actually, funny enough, when we were dating, it took a lot of prodding to get you to even date
because I'm so resistant to change.
Yes, she was like, I'm single, I'm raising my kids by myself, I'm cool at 16 before I have kids. And it took, if it weren't for her cousin Tony, shout out to Tony,
Toka Fly. Don't be disrespectful.
I love Tony. If it weren't for Tony, I still wouldn't. I don't know where I'd be in line because I wouldn't be dating Melissa. Tony really put me over the edge. He was like, "Come on, cuz, get with my boy Kev. He's a good guy." She was like, "Fine, Tony. Okay, we are dating. Are you happy?" And
First
she like
of all,
grabbed me
not
and
that dramatic.
Yes, you kind of pushed me and punched me in the eye a little bit. And then we never broke up since then. But it took like 6-8 months to convince her to date
the whole entire school year.
Yeah, I was like, man, shoot,
so long.
People don't usually do this with your boy. You know what I'm saying? I got lines of people being like, "Yo,
well,
Kev,
child, move on to the next
I have
one.
Your children?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good."
Bye.
And then she was like, "Nah."
Next question.
And nobody ever talked to me like that.
What?
And that's why I was like, "Dang, who this girl is? Thinks she don't love me? Everybody love me. Yeah, these girls ain't the most attractive, but they love me."
Okay, next question. How much do you think natural personality plays into the success of your relationship?
Do you want to go first?
No, you can go.
I don't think natural personality plays into this.
I was going to say the same thing. I didn't know what you were going to say, so I was like, let me let you go first. Yeah. But I actually don't think it's personality at all. I think it's just like determination.
Your willingness to work hard.
Your willingness to work hard. Your commitment to it.
I'm going to tell you something I said in the Love Hour that I think is really amazing, and I'm so glad I thought of it. People get divorced later in life because there was a period in our lives where people we've known for a long time or married 20, 30 years were getting divorced, and not even because of infidelity. And I think I realized one of the reasons, I talked about this on Periscope one time, shout out to the 95. People get divorced because they are not willing to love this new version of their spouse.
Yes.
That's, person.
What do you mean by the new version of your spouse?
So I liken being married to like an iPhone getting updates, right? Melissa version, I'm going to say 35 because this is where you are age, right? Version 35 is not Melissa version 22. When we were 21, 22, didn't know much about the world. It was easy to love her because we didn't know anything, hadn't been through nothing. There's not much to build upon. I feel like the first big update that made it hard was when your parents got divorced. Mm-hmm. And that was what, you were 26, 27? Version 27 was the first time I was like, oh man, this woman is not the same as she used to be. And it was drastic and quick. She became more scared of like what could happen to our marriage. She became more jealous. And she had not been.
As life happens, it layers you and makes you view the world differently. Actually, good or bad?
Good or bad. I want to backtrack. Before your parents got divorced, the first big change was Zay Zay.
That was the same time.
It was. Mm-hmm. See, that's the thing. That was a buggy year. That was like when Apple released too many updates at once. It's like, yo, my phone just keeps turning off. Melissa had a baby. Would you say you had a little bit of postpartum depression?
Oh, for sure.
Postpartum depression, magnified by the fact that her parents got divorced. This was all in a year. So I was like, fam, who is this girl I see? She stays.
I didn't recognize her either. Hello? I didn't recognize her either, though, to be.
So, and the thing is, like, just like in a phone, once you switch to that, you never went back.
No, I think what happens, though, is you balance out. So something happens and it affects you. It has the most impact when you're up close and personal to it.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on and I'm more removed from the initial like shock and pain and devastation of your parents getting divorced, you mellow out. So initially it's like this huge like swing as to who you are.
Right.
And then you have a chance to reflect and, you don't have to be as dramatic about it because this is life. This is what happens. Like you're able to like assess the situation and then kind of mellow out. Am I changed? Absolutely. But it's not as dramatic and as drastic as it was upon first impact.
Right. Now, the other thing that I want to say quickly just on this same topic, there were other changes where you starting to become more sure of yourself, changing how you see yourself, see the world. And that, that I joked about this in the Love Hour. Melissa had always been like, I traveled, I did stand up. She picked me up from the airport on Sundays because she wouldn't be doing anything at the moment. So she was like, oh yeah, if you're coming home, I'm not busy, I'll pick you up. So then her and Dee started a makeup channel. And I was laughing about this because now it was like, oh, Kev, I can't pick you up this Sunday because I'm shooting. And usually when I came home off the road, it would just be me and her, like we chilling, watching TV or whatever. And then I remember one Sunday I came home, you were shooting for like 4 hours. And I was just like, wow, I just ain't even here. I done went out and got this bacon, brought it home, it's sitting on the pan. She's doing her own YouTube channel.
After your encouragement to start a YouTube channel.
After I encouraged you to start it and then you did it, I was like, but it's going to cost me time? Delete it. Delete every video. Don't need it. Just be there for me when I come home.
You're selfish.
I am. I'm not going to hold you. I am. So I had to really
I wasn't ready for your really admission.
I had to really eat it. Like I had to swallow that selfishness and realize not only was it unfair to her, she had allowed me the freedom to do everything. Stand up, YouTube, ADD, everything. This is the first time she took some time for herself. And I was like, but what about me? We supposed to watch TV. No, I watch TV by my own self. Kids don't talk to me. I was just in the room watching the Office episodes I've seen 1,000 times. So, Insecure, a version of me would have bucked at that. You know what I mean? And made a big deal. But I realized I had to that took some adjustment on my own. And I think what happens later on, people just be like, man, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to put the work in. That's when you get divorced. When you decide I don't want to put the work in anymore. I do think people always say, how do people, get past infidelity? How? Because you even said, if you cheat on me, it's over. I haven't said that to you because I fight for love. But I think it's work. For whatever reason, people are willing to work through that and past that. Then you can make it. Yeah. And then somewhere along the line, people don't want to work anymore. And that's when your marriage falls apart.
That was good, Kev.
Question
number 2. Were you and Kevin both virgins when you got married? If not, did this decrease the wonder of the marriage?
Listen, The devil wants to focus on my past.
Hello?
Amen. I've been born again. Those old sins, those are past. I don't remember. Was I a virgin or not?
Oh, now you don't remember.
It's foggy.
Listen, I remember.
My past is foggy. My future is clear. Amen.
Let me help you remember. I was a virgin. He wasn't.
Okay.
Next question. Thank you. Next.
No, there was some more. Thank you. Next.
Okay.
The wonder. Did it decrease the wonder of the marriage?
So for me, I would say, well, it didn't decrease the wonder because all of it was a wonder. I didn't know what to expect.
He's a wonder.
But we talked about this a little bit during the Love Hour Live that we did for 2018. And that is I do feel like I was brainwashed though.
Right.
So that played a negative impact on like my view of marriage and sex specifically, which that's the driving point behind this question. Because I was brainwashed to believe that sex was bad, and it was like had this bad dark connotation to it.
You said something in the Love Hour that I thought was really powerful. You said the same thought process you needed to stay a virgin was now useless when you were married.
Oh, not only was it useless, it was the enemy of progress.
Enemy of progress.
During your marriage, because you need to like hold on to like thoughts of like purity and like keeping yourself and being and so what happens is, literally going back to this idea that like sex is negative and it's bad, is that you're holding on to these thoughts of like purity and being clean and all of these things, and now you're under this like sanctified, God ordained situation where sex is supposed to happen, and now it's like, but I was just holding on to like my virginity as being pure. And now you're telling me that sex is okay? Like those things are incongruent. That thought process is incongruent. And to make that mind switch is very difficult. And so you do need a better, more balanced approach to sex in general. So did it decrease the wonder? No, but I think it did add, I would almost say like anxiety to like my thought process and like how to transition from one to the other.
Absolutely. I would say it's hard to go from a Shirley Caesar to throw that thing in a circle.
Yes.
And you need to do that on your wedding day. I'm like, hey, Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 to 2000. That's what I'm trying to see now. I don't want to hear no Shirley. I love Shirley. Huh? I ain't talking about beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, but I am talking about yams.
Okay, but hold on.
Because I am talking about yams.
You said taking over for the 99 2000. What year are we about to be in? You realize that was 19 years ago?
It was about to be 20 years ago.
You're old.
But Cash Money is still taking over.
Get a new reference.
The 99 to 2000 about to be 2019, 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing else has the same ring. Taking over for the 1919 to the 2020.
Just find a new reference.
Nah, man. Juvie
Do you have anything to add to this question?
I would say what messed with me was having sex before marriage and having an expectation of what it was, or having sexual partners prior to getting married and being like, oh, this girl used to do that and this girl used to do that. And then being with Melissa, who was, very conservative, not sexually active before, and just being like, oh man, this. And I actually told my Bible study class this. I actually saw God's point, like why you should wait for abstinence, because you guys can both learn about sex and what works for each other. Because it doesn't matter how much sex you have, the sex you have between your marital partner, you're going to have to learn what turns them on, off, their likes, dislikes. So as much sex as you have in practice or whatever, it might not all be useful, because that stuff you might know might not be what they like. So, and in some ways, it's kind of like you can learn bad habits that you now take into the marriage. So I feel like if we both weren't virgins, then we'd come into this like with wide-eyed, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but I had to unlearn some things and be like, okay, well, that was this girl, that girl, but this is my wife and this is what it's going to be. And we're going to have to build that. So that took some time. Amen. But what God has been doing in these last days is better than what the devil ever did. Huh? Because see, one thing that you got to understand, and I can't turn, no, I actually want to say this. I can't turn my preacher voice off right now because I already started. There is freedom in sex without condemnation and conviction.
That's true.
That whole like, oh, if I get her pregnant, is she clean? Or do I have a baby by her? Like, I don't really want to do this. What if she, she goes and tells her friend, all that type of stuff, that was removed once I was married to you. And there's so much better sex in freedom.
Freedom is a good word.
Truth, love, all that type of stuff than just like, I'm about to throw it down so she can tell her friends or whatever. Like, and you really, I honestly could say, and I'm sorry if you guys are listening, I didn't care about girls that I was having sex with like that. I didn't care about how the sex was for you. You know, I was just trying to have sex. All the slang words came in my mouth.
I was trying to help you think of one, and all I could think of was
all the bad words, not cuss words, but you know. So I didn't really care, but you know, so this, you know, when you're having
ejaculate,
no, beat is what I was gonna say.
Oh, I was gonna say bust a nut.
Okay, well, I was trying to take it back.
That's why I said ejaculate.
No, I was. Oh, you thought I was just saying I was just trying to bust. I was saying I was just trying to beat, and then bust. But when now that I'm married, it concerns me how the sexual experience is for my wife.
Yes.
You know, how is she responding and all that type of stuff. So I feel like that was something I personally could never have with other people, you know, and I never was no player like that. You know, I've been one woman man my whole life. But anyway.
Last question,
because DZ got to go to the Laker game.
Knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself at the time of marriage? This is actually going to be the theme for next year's
Love Hour.
So we don't have to go into much detail because I can't be giving you all my stuff.
Do you have one locked and loaded?
I would go back to I think I would go back to intimacy, to be honest.
And tell yourself
and tell yourself that, first of all, having the knowledge that men and women are different, and not assuming that because we're different, you're less than.
You are less than?
No, you. Because women is a superior sex here.
I remember when you came to the realization of like, oh, maybe I've been thinking about that wrong. You had either read it in a book or
I read it in a book.
Read in a book, and you were like, man, I had been thinking that you were kind of cavemanish, you know, and I was happy that you came around. So shout out to whoever that author
I remember too.
is. I think one thing, it might not be what we say on live, probably won't be what we say when we have the Love Hour live. Tickets available, KevOnStage.com. Summer months only, May, June, July, a little bit of August. There's more to it than not cheating and going to work.
Yeah.
Because it was a couple years when I was like, bro, I've been to work so many days in a row. Didn't cheat. I remember telling you. Remember I told you that?
Yes, I do.
I was like.
That wasn't a good day.
Wasn't a good day. I was like, listen, Melissa.
That wasn't
could cheat
a good
anytime
day. We don't need to recount what happened.
Are you getting upset?
Yes, because that was the dumbest thing.
I want people to know how I was strongly wrong.
Just
listen, Liz. That is your name. I want you to know something. I could have anybody I want. I choose you. And I said that with the confidence where I thought you were going to be like, you're right. Come on over here, Big Daddy.
It's the dumbest thing.
Total opposite reaction you had. Much to my surprise. That day, I was like, that did not go as planned at all. I do not think I'm going to be getting the draws tonight. But I told you that. And I think that's because I was absorbing. Listen, man, I hate to admit it. All of the stuff I learned from marriage nobody taught me none of that stuff.
No, and that's honestly one of the things. I would almost be like, throw out all the books that you read from a woman's perspective and pick up a book from a man's perspective.
For you?
And that's what you need to expect marriage to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you realize the I keep saying incongruencies, but we're going to go with that again. Where you and your spouse are incongruent, where I think of it this way and he thinks of it the opposite. Oh, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have that conversation. Let's open up that dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh, he thinks about this like this. I think about this like this. Oh, that's another red flag.
Right.
Let's have that dialogue.
Yes.
And it's not all like personality based. Some of it is just literally the genetic makeup of a man versus a woman.
Right.
We are naturally attracted to our opposites.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I'm done with this spouse, throw him in the garbage because we're not good, you're more likely than not going to pick up a spouse that has the same traits.
Right.
So it really is about going back to the original question, working through it, that kind of thing, and being wide-eyed about what to expect. And it's not going to be like me and my girlfriend living together, because we're both women and we both agree on how things should operate,
yes,
it's going to be opposite.
That's useless when you go be with a man. It's my water. All right. Are we closing?
Do you have anything you wanted to add?
No. I think I've added all the things I've added. I think I brought a lot to the table today.
You did. You brought a lot of nonsense.
10, 8 rebounds.
That's a bit much. You didn't have it. Was that a triple double?
No, it's close.
Oh, okay.
20 and 10, double. 8 rebounds.
You're not doubling.
20 and 8. 28 and 8.
No,
28 and 8?
We'll give you that.
Hey, you ain't gonna give me 8 and 8? Just trying to get some rebounds, some percent. It's tough.
Thank you guys so much for listening to. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Love Hour podcast. We will be back when we are back.
But before we let you go,
this
episode was brought to you by ourselves. Ain't no sponsor just yet. We're believing God. So if you want to support us in a monetary fashion, you can do so by going to KevOnStage.com.
We ain't got no job at KevOnStage.com.
We ain't got no job at KevOnStage.com. You can buy Melissa's book, Journey to Self-Love, which is hard copy available for $12, digital download for $7. Our digital download of our book, 25 Tips for a Healthy Marriage, is available for $3. We sell merchandise. I'm currently wearing the Save But I Got Hands boxing club shirt. Melissa's wearing the Blessed crew neck. You can pick those up. You can check out tickets to our comedy show, Love Hour package, KevOnStage.com. And if you have no money, you can still help support by sharing. You can share this podcast on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you use. Like and rate the podcast so more people can be aware of it. And that is equally as valuable as monetary donations. Just doesn't help pay the bills. And please. We're so grateful for everything you do. No, really, your support is greatly appreciated. In any way you can do it, don't feel bad if you don't have no money. Work harder. Pick up another shift. Overtime. Take from your kids. Payday loan. Whatever you got to do.
Don't do no payday loans.
But no payday loans. I mean, it depends on when you pay back. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. We will see you next Thursday. And if not that Thursday, the next Thursday. God bless you. God keep you. We'll see you at the conference. Love Hour Conference 2020.